if you've been following along, I've been having trouble streaming today. Just been one of those days. Now, the plum, or ume as it's known in Japanese, is one of the first flowers and is sort of a precursor to spring. When you see them, you know spring is coming. That and sakura flavored beer and sakura flavored foods. So I was down at Osaki Jinja a few days ago, and their plum garden, the plum blossoms are all in bloom. Now here, it's only a select few trees, unfortunately, just kind of the way it is right now. One of it is that I don't think they get as much sun here, thanks to the cedars. The other part is that this is a higher elevation, so it's a little cooler. So we get a look at them. Now, the first one was white. Now here we have a pink one. So we have a nice pink plum. Now, one of the ways to tell the difference is, here, stay still, please. You see the petal is completely rounded. There's no split in the middle. So if there's a split kind of in the middle, then it is a cherry blossom. These ones, however, you see they're totally round. That tells you that it's plum. So color isn't the only indicator. You notice this one's kind of a very dark pink, almost red. That one is a white. We're going to see a very pretty pink soon once I continue along. In chat, if you have any questions, anything you want to talk about, feel free to ask away. Yeah, here we go. Here's another pink, very soft pink. I actually kind of like this one. It looks white at a distance, but it's actually a very nice pink color. Here we go. So nice pink color here. See, yep, there you go. There's pink. So the color is not the only. There's lots of different types of cherry. So when it gets to hungry, so time for the cherries, I'm gonna try to do some live streams then, showing off the cherry blossoms. Yeah, let's go down this part of the garden. It's not a huge garden. It's actually really nice if you can hit it when they're almost all in blossom. But you see, it's the ones that seem to get the most sunlight that have blossomed. You notice this one, he's kind of nice and short. He's not covered as much by the trees. So here we go. That kind of darker red. Once again, you see that there is no split. That means that it is plum. Cherry has the split down the middle of the petal. So these are kind of the first blooming tree in Japan. Indicator that spring is coming. They're not as famous as sakura. You don't see as many plum gardens compared to cherry gardens. You don't see as many places where just on the streets it's all plums planted. The kind of exception to that, which is sort of interesting, is if you go to Mito. So Mito is in Ibaraki, and historically, so the Edo period, let's be a little more specific. So during the Edo period, it was the capital of the Mito Takagawa domain. So this was a sub-branch off of the Takagawa family, and they actually really, one of their founders, or early figures, I can't remember if he was the first, or maybe the second or third Daimyo, he really liked plum blossoms, so he had lots of plum trees planted around what is now Mito. I think it was even called Mito back then. One of the most famous is this garden called the Kaioken. So the Kaioken is basically on the side of the hill, and it was a garden slash sort of resort for the Mito Takagawa family. They had a house there, and it's just covered, like this whole hill is just covered in plum trees. It's actually extremely beautiful. I went there, me and my wife, our first year we lived in Japan, we went to Mito to go to the garden and see all the plum blossoms. And it was extremely beautiful. It was a great trip. Mito is a lot of fun if you like history. If you are looking more for like the nightlife, high-tech side of Japan, you're not going to love Mito. We did Mito once. I think my wife was thinking she was happy about that, but she's like, it's not Tokyo. My wife loves Tokyo. I don't really care for Tokyo. Usually, if I go to Tokyo, it's because I got to do something. Everybody in the chat watching, if you could give me a thumbs up, doesn't cost you anything, does help me, makes me feel good about myself, let's be honest, helps with my mental health for that reason. But no, if I'm being more serious, it helps spread my channel, helps spread this live stream, so hopefully more people watch and enjoy what I do, which makes what I do more enjoyable. Here we are, we're just going to continue to walk around the garden. We're about halfway through. So this side that's towards the rising sun and towards the agriculture fields, they get more sunlight, so they blossom earlier. That side, not so much. It's amazing how much that matters. All right, got a duck. Is the problem with being 180 centimeters tall is I gotta do a lot more ducking than some people do. Oh, there's a cute one. There. There we go. Nice little view of a plum flower. It's got its 5 petals. You can see that they're rounded, unlike a cherry or sakura, which have a little split in the middle. It's also way too early for sakura in this part of Japan. They are the harbingers of spring. So before I lived in Japan, I actually lived in Taiwan, and plum is the national flower. So yeah, there's a nice white one. There's a red one, but it's kind of tall. Oh wait, this expands. Loses stability when it expands, though. Oh no, here's some close ones. They're very pretty flower. They actually smell very nice. Here, let me try to raise you up. I raise you up so you can look at flowers. Oh, I wish I was taller. Ta-da. Yeah, so you get to see some of the flowers here. There we go. All right. Back down. Chat should be open, so if you have any questions or any comments, want to tell me what you think about this, please go ahead. Also, please hit the thumbs up button. It helps spread awareness. Makes me feel good about myself. Makes me feel like people actually enjoy what I'm talking about, and I'm not just like boring everyone to death. Should have said that. Half the people just left. All right, here we go. Another nice white one. I don't know. What do you think? Do you like the white? Kind of reddish. Pink is kind of a rare color. There's one in here that's pink. I passed by it earlier. Yeah. I don't think this is going to be a good year for plum blossoms, to be totally honest, for a few reasons. So last week we actually had snow. I did a live stream hiking in the snow, and there was already a few plum trees that had begun to blossom. Then it got cold, the snow hit them. Then a few days it warmed up, and then it hit rain, and now it feels warmer than it should for this time of year. So I feel like the plants are getting kind of confused by this whole global warming, just like me. So I'm not sure, you kind of, yeah, this tree's a good example. Let me come back over here, actually. So you can kind of see some blossoms that already look wilted and killed off, and I wonder if that's because they blossomed and then they got hit by the cold and then the hot heat and then the rain, and I wonder if that's kind of damaged them. So I wonder if we're not going to have a very good blossom this year as far as plums, which would be unfortunate because they are beautiful. I do love the look of them. All right, so let's swing around to the other side of the garden. This isn't a very big plum garden. This is in Igashira Park. Igashira Park, you know, has a few. I wouldn't say a ton of any example of anything. So they'll have like a few examples of sakura, a few examples of rose, a few examples of wisteria. So it's not a very big garden, but it's bigger than the one near my house, which would be Osaki Jinja. Yeah, kind of the same thing here. That one's got kind of a nice pink. Yeah, that's better. Just got strap cut. Focus. Yeah, there's kind of a nicer pink color. A nice pink. You can see a few have died on the vine here. And now it's facing the wrong way. Oh, this is pretty. So here we go. We have plum blossoms. Kind of a nice pink color on them. They've got a rounded petal, which distinguishes them from cherry, which has a like a cut-in indent in their petal. So in Japanese, this is called the ume. It is the first of the major blossoms every year. In a lot of poetry and historically, it's seen as kind of a herald of spring. That like, oh, spring is coming. You know, we have the plum blossoms. I don't think we're gonna have a really good crop this year because we already see some dying, just like that one. I think that's from the snow last week, and then the rain this week, and the heat and the cold. The weather's been a little crazy, but at least we have something to enjoy. The global weirding is making it harder on the trees and blossoms. Here's some white ones. There's a really nice soft pink one that we'll make our way to. This side is doesn't get as much sunlight, so it's not as nice as the other side of the garden that we were looking at earlier. Good. Everybody watching, if you don't mind, I'd really appreciate it if you gave me a thumbs up, make me feel like you enjoy what I'm showing you today. So this is just one small part of Igashira Park. If you keep going that way, you actually come to the entrance, the main entrance and exit, and they have lots of cherry trees. But it's not that time of year yet in Tochigi. We have to wait for cherry trees. When the cherry trees start blossoming, I'm going to try to do some live streams showing off them too. Not just here in Igashira, probably do the Gogogawa quite a bit too. Gogogawa's got a lot of cherry trees. Yeah, let's go check out this white one. Yeah, that's a white one. Sun's blinding me a little bit. Actually, nice tree. Let's see. Nice. There's a perfect example, right? 5 nice petals. You can see they have rounded edges. Open up. That's actually very, very perfect one. These ones haven't all budded yet. This tree doesn't get as much sun. So part of the issue is you can see there's cedar trees over there, and the cedar trees block some of the sun into this garden. So the trees that get lots of sunlight, well, they're over there and in the gaps. So they blossom earlier than these ones here that get kind of overcast by the cedar. They don't get as much sunlight. You notice this one is kind of in a nice position, gets a little more sunlight. It's growing right in that direction towards the sun. That's very nice. That's a nice pink on these ones. Nice and bushy. So yeah, Plum or Ume. Peach is later. Peach is going to be, peach is a few more weeks. There's not as much peach around here. Peach is associated a lot with Girls' Day, Doll Day. So that's when you usually have the peach. I'm trying to think of where there's peach around here. There's not really a lot of peach trees. It's not considered, it's a blossom. It's the thing in Japan. It's mostly connected to Girls' Day. Girls' Day kind of got a demotion on the whole holiday list, but I have a girl, so I pay more attention to it than most people do because, that's how it happens. And they intended to combine Girls' Day and Boys' Day into one holiday and make it Kids' Day. But, yeah, you know how those things work. They don't all the way at a time. Yeah, so these trees are in the shadow, so they just don't get as many blossoms right now. It's sort of an uneven. I think that's why if you go to Osaki Jinja, they have a plum garden that's much smaller than this one, maybe like 1/4. But when I was there over the weekend, it was much more impressive because they get a lot of sun. They're a little lower elevation, so it's a little warmer. So they all have blossomed and opened up, and it's very beautiful. And kind of more put together than here. All right. That's a white one. Oh, that's a white. There's a soft pink. Where's the soft pink? Oh, it's over there. I think I see it. Well, that's actually not a bad pink either. Yeah, that's a nice pink. All right, so here we are. We have plum blossoms, ume in Japanese. Oh, there's a perfect one. This garden, it's a little early. Probably next week or the week. Yeah, maybe next week this garden will be closer to peak. So the plum is among the blossoms in Japan, generally the first one to blossom. So it's seen sort of as the herald of spring. Spring is coming, winter is over. I find the other great herald is when they have a bunch of sakura flavored things at store, sakura beer, sakura coffee, all of that. That's another good indicator that spring is coming in Japan. The 15th, Starbucks started selling sakura coffee. So of course my wife had to go get one. But I don't know. I'm partial to the plum. I like it. I can see why the Lord of Mito is like, yeah, we're just gonna plant a bunch of plum trees. So most of Japan, like along the roads, it's cherry trees, maybe a few trees, maybe some peach trees mixed in, wisteria. These are regional variations. But back in the Edo period, the Lord of Mito, the Daimyo of the Takagawa Mito clan, so a sub-branch off of the Takagawas, he was like, yeah, you know what? I like ume. I like plum blossoms. We're going to plant lots of plum blossoms. So you go to Mito, and there's just lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of plum blossoms and plum trees, and it's actually kind of nice. They have this garden, Kaioken. Went there with my wife the first year I was in Japan, and it's just a hillside covered in plum trees. So, puts this little garden quite to shame if you go there to Mito. But, this is what we got here in rural Tochigi, in Mocha. This is probably your biggest collection of plums and plum trees. There you go. Oh, that's a nice pink. Very dark. Already seems to have been a hard year on the blossoms. I kind of blame the snow we had last week. But hey, that is life. the central part of the garden. Yeah, let's take a look at this nice one. I'm gonna. Oh, nice thing about this gimbal, it has you can extend it. You can make it taller. Oh, lost connection for a second. Oh, right there, yeah. That's like a very picturesque, like perfect example. You can see the 5 petals. You can see that they have rounded edges, which is one of the ways to distinguish a plum blossom from a cherry blossom. So cherry blossom has an indent. I plan to be doing a lot more live streams when it becomes cherry season. Ooh. All right, I got my drink. I've got hot sweet potato milk. Coming out of the vending machine. Oh, that's good. So here we are, Igashira Park. We are in the plum garden. So plums are very, very early blossom. All right, let's finish a lap around the park. Not around the park. Let's finish a lap around this garden. And then I think it's going to be time for me to wrap up this live stream and head home. All right, let's pick up the camera. Take a little look-see. Whee! All right, here we go. So right in front of us, we have a tree with nice white blossoms. So here we go. So this is kind of like a very picturesque example. So you can see the 5 petals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one's white. Inside, you can see that the petals are rounded, which is different from cherry sakura, because the cherry tree actually has an indent on the petals, where this, the plum does not have an indent on the petals. Here we got more of a pinkish one over here. This one's actually in the sun, so you can see it's got a lot more blossoms and blossomed a lot earlier. A nice pink color. Very nice. You can see the petals are round. No indent. Also, time of year. For this part of Japan, I'm in Tochigi, which is north of Tokyo. It's way too early to have sakura. Now, if you go further south, you can run into other species that bloom earlier or later. But also, it's warmer, usually, unless you're high up. Elevation makes a big difference in temperature in Japan. Tochigi is no different. Like, it is cooler up here than it is where I live. I live down in a valley, and this is up on a ridge. So even up on the ridges, and then I think it's the wind actually contributing a lot to how I feel colder right here. Oh, that's pretty. I'm just going to complete along this section, and then we're going to call it on the live streaming. That's a very nice white. The cedar trees here kind of make it a little rough as far as them all getting an even amount of sunlight. Also, it's open. Sunrise is this direction. All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this little live stream. So if you're watching on the replay, please remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in my next adventure.